The Baltimore Ravens are coming off an impressive defensive performance against the Minnesota Vikings. But it's now time to turn the page and look ahead to Week 11, and can the Ravens beat the Cleveland Browns? In this video, we are not going to give a full-on preview of the game, but rather I'd like to focus on one side of the ball, and that being the offense. Do the Ravens have enough, and can they do enough to win offensively on Sunday? Well, I know some of you might say, well, Yolanda, we already shown you we can beat the Browns. We did that in Week 2. That is factually correct. However, back in Week 2, this was before Lamar Jackson started to take a brutal beating against these opponents. Let me tell you why. In week number 3 against the Detroit Lions, he was sacked 7 times. Coming right back a week later against the Chiefs in week 4, he was sacked 3 times. We all know he was out weeks 5 through 8, but when he returned in week 9 against the Dolphins, he was sacked twice. And yesterday against the Minnesota Vikings, he was sacked once. That is not even including QB hits. I remember yesterday thinking, wow, Lamar Jackson is being pummeled to the ground. I mean, just driven into the ground by these defenders. Why? Because our O-line can't block. Our O-line can't protect. And that's going to be a big issue as we get ready to face Myles Garrett, who himself has already, through 10 weeks, eclipsed double-digit sacks. Let that land. And that's not even including the number of QB hits that he's taken this year. That was just your sack total. But if we add on how many QB hits he's getting every single game, now the question becomes, are we really doing the right thing by Lamar Jackson by trotting out the same offensive line week after week? The ones who can't block, the ones who can't push defenders back? But here we are. Week 11, we don't have any choice but to face the opponent who is in front of us. And for us, that happens to be Myles Garrett. And we already know what type of menace he is and what damage he can do. Now, he didn't go off too bad in that first game against the Ravens back in week 2. I think he had 1.5 sacks. But we all know that he's capable of so much more if this offensive line continues to falter. So with that, I ask, can the Ravens do enough offensively to win? Well, I think it's going to take some restructuring, right? Some recalibrating of sorts. What are we going to do differently in order to set Lamar Jackson up for success against Myles Garrett and company? We're going to have to lean on our tight ends. Last game, our tight ends were practically non-existent, sans for the 1 touchdown by Mark Andrews. But other than that, we saw drop passes. Isaiah Likely was not, Lamar Jackson and Isaiah Likely weren't on the same page. We saw his receivers were not on the same page as well. That needs to be the focus of attention all week long during practice. Scheme up Lamar Jackson to get these quick, short passes, intermediate passes, get the ball out of his hands quickly to keep him upright. We don't want to see him taking these unnecessary hits. And listen, Myles Garrett is a big man and he is coming at you full speed ahead. Like, we've got to make better business decisions. Todd Monken, you need to get in your bag this week and make sure that you understand that this offensive line, despite what John Harbaugh says about him, despite what EDC says that they're a good offensive line and they don't look that bad on tape, forget it. The problem is we've seen multiple sacks against Lamar Jackson, primarily because this offensive line doesn't do what they need to do. So with that, can the Ravens beat the Browns? Absolutely they can. But they're going to have to change a few things in order to get the job done, and not just to win. I don't want to just come out with a victory. What do I want just equally as important? I want Lamar Jackson healthy. Watching him go down time after he's sacked one time, QB hit another time, that's not going to sustain us long term. So let's put our focus this week in practice on figuring out how we can dial up a game, how we can scheme Lamar Jackson for success. Another point, our running backs. We all know that they struggle too against this offensive line. Derrick Henry, we have seen the frustration on his face because he really can't get going. Why? Because the offensive line can't create holes for him to get through. So it's like, look, he's getting stuffed behind the line of scrimmage. He gets all dressed up and has nowhere to go. But guess what? We have someone else who we can rely on as well. Keaton Mitchell. He's doing a very good job, and he's shown us that he has that burst of speed that even when this offensive line looks abysmal, even when they look disenfranchised, even when they look horrible, he can still get you a first down. He can still move the chains and then some. We need to rely on him. Justice Hill, bring him in too. That is our formula for us to succeed this week against Cleveland. I know Lamar Jackson likes to wait until the routes, these long developing routes, until receivers get open. Yesterday against the Minnesota Vikings, our receivers just were not getting separation. They could not get open. Lamar Jackson was trying to make something happen. He's trying to extend the play. He's trying to dance around. He's trying to escape the pocket. He's trying to evade pressure. Because why? Our receivers weren't getting open. So if that be the case, if our receivers are not going to get open, we have to have a plan B. And I just told you what the plan B is. Implement that, and I think the Ravens will be just fine going up against Myles Garrett. Use Keaton Mitchell heavily. Get right, get on one accord, Lamar Jackson and Isaiah Likely. If it means taking Isaiah Likely, putting him on the field and taking Mark Andrews out of the game, if that's what it means for Isaiah Likely to succeed, let's do that. Mark Andrews, we appreciate you. Go ahead and have a seat for a little while. We'll bring you back in the game in just a bit. But let's do that, because seemingly when Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely are on the field contemporaneously, it just doesn't work. It doesn't. We see miscommunication, miscues, balls overthrown. It's going to take a lot of creativity this week, but I think you can do it, Todd Monken. I'm going to hold you to it. You can get creative. Don't be so vanilla in your play calling. Don't be so predictable. Go ahead and use some of these weapons that we have. It would be nice if we saw Tez Walker active, and he very well may be because of the injury to Rashad Bateman. But again, if Tez Walker is out there and he can't get separation, he can't get open, we don't have the offensive line that can hold up to watch these long routes develop to keep Lamar Jackson safe. That's just what it is. My suggestion to the Ravens, if you are watching Baltimore Ravens, I appreciate you. Go ahead and hit the like button for me. But if you are watching Baltimore Ravens, please make sure you get in your bag and figure out what works for us behind an offensive line that just is not great. You don't have to admit it to us. You don't have to get on camera and say in one of your pressers to say, listen, this offensive line is just the pits. You don't have to call your guys out. All you need to do is make the proper adjustments this week and let us see it on the field come Sunday. One last point I will touch on in this video. Yesterday, we were 2 for 5 in the red zone. Even though we're playing the Cleveland Browns, who have not been a good team this year, 2 for 5 in the red zone is inexcusable with the talent that we have. If our offensive coordinator and to a lesser degree, our head coach cannot figure out how to convert on third downs, how to get into the end zone, if they can't figure this out, then we are really worse off than we thought. So with that, I think the Baltimore Ravens can absolutely beat the Browns on offense. I think we have enough weapons in the arsenal to be successful on offense, to put up points on the board. Well, family, that is all I have for you today. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button. I appreciate it. If you are new, welcome, subscribe, join the family so that you don't miss content released on this channel. I will see you back very soon. Until then, you take care, stay safe, and always remember, even though we are trying to get back above board and get to 500, go Ravens.